Chosen one, stop scrolling and lock your attention right here. The exhaustion you feel in your bones right now is not physical. It is deep within your spirit. You have been carrying a heavy weight that nobody else can see. And every single time you try to explain this invisible burden to the people around you, they just look at you with empty eyes. You feel entirely alone in a crowded room. You smile and nod and pretend everything is perfectly fine. But inside, your soul feels like it is wandering through a massive desert. You sleep for a full 8 hours and wake up completely drained. This is not normal tiredness. This is a very real sign of heavy spiritual warfare surrounding your entire life. The Matrix wants you to believe you are just broken. The world tells you to just work harder and smile more often. But the truth is something they desperately want to keep hidden from you. You did not stumble upon this exact message by accident today. This is a very specific divine appointment, orchestrated specifically for your current season. Look back at the last 72 hours of your life. The sudden shift in the atmosphere around you was absolutely undeniable. People you trusted suddenly pulled away for no apparent reason. Doors you prayed so hard to open were slammed shut right in your face. You felt completely abandoned by the world, and you simply did not understand why. You probably sat alone in the dark and cried quietly. You asked the universe what you did wrong to deserve this constant struggle. You watched other people get everything so easily, while you fought a brutal war for every single breath. The sudden silence from heaven felt exactly like a harsh punishment. But listen to me very carefully right now. The intense isolation you are experiencing right now is not a penalty. God is not angry with you. The universe is not ignoring your quiet tears. That heavy silence is actually the sound of a massive spiritual transition taking place. You are being aggressively pulled away from the crowd for a very specific and glorious reason. You are a masterpiece of God. And true masterpieces are not created on busy street corners where everyone can carelessly touch them. They are crafted in absolute isolation. Heaven had to quickly remove those people from your life because their energy frequency was simply too low for the elevated places you are about to enter. Take one deep breath slowly. Drop your shoulders and release that deep tension hiding in your neck. If you feel this divine shift happening in your spirit right now, type 777 to claim this frequency. You are not losing your mind at all. Your spirit is simply waking up to its true authority after a very long slumber. They always called you the black sheep of the family. You have always felt like you were dropped onto the wrong planet. Ever since you were a little child, you could see right through the fake smiles of adults. You felt their hidden intentions instantly, while everyone else just played along blindly with the comfortable illusion. This profound sensitivity is the exact reason why you are so utterly exhausted today. You act as a spiritual shield for the people you deeply love. You walk into a room and instantly absorb all the toxic energy just to keep the fragile peace. You constantly heal others while you sit and bleed in absolute silence. But the season of you being a sacrificial lamb for broken people is officially over. Heaven has issued a brand new decree over your precious life. The heavy emotional mantle you have been wearing for years is being lifted right now. You are about to step into a timeline that will completely shock everyone who ever doubted your potential. The system wants to keep you trapped in a cycle of endless survival. They need you to stay tired so you never realize how much spiritual power you actually hold. Because if you ever fully wake up and claim your true identity, their entire matrix of control will collapse instantly and you will finally be free. You are a massive threat to their dark architecture. I need you to understand something very deeply before we continue further. The reason your life has been one relentless storm after another is not because you are cursed. It is because you are the grand exception. You are the brave cycle breaker that your entire bloodline has been desperately waiting for many generations. The enemy tried everything possible to break your spirit early. They sent the wrong people to break your heart and completely drain your trust. They manipulated your finances to keep your mind focused on mere survival. But all of those targeted attacks failed miserably because heaven was always acting as your invisible shield while you walked through the fire. You are still standing here today against all odds. Your heart is still pure despite all the terrible darkness that tried to infect it. And every single time you look up and wonder if heaven has completely forgotten you, God smiles. He smiles because he knows exactly what kind of rare and beautiful warrior he placed inside your spirit. Stay with me until the very end of this message, because what the Holy Spirit is about to reveal regarding your recent isolation will completely change how you view your future. The pain was never meant to destroy you. It was a divine quarantine preparing your soul for the ultimate reveal that is rapidly coming your way. You have spent your entire life trying to squeeze your massive spirit into tiny boxes just to make other people comfortable. You tried to laugh at their shallow jokes. You tried to care about their empty conversations. But no matter how hard you tried to blend in, you always stood out like a sore thumb. You felt deeply flawed. The rejection felt like a heavy stone sitting in your stomach. You watched average people form easy connections, and you quietly wondered what was fundamentally wrong with you. You thought your inability to fit in was a terrible curse. You blamed yourself for being too sensitive and too different. But you must hear the absolute truth today. Your profound inability to harmonize with the crowd is not a character flaw. It is the exact opposite. It is the greatest and most undeniable proof that heaven has placed a very heavy calling upon your life. The universe deliberately designed you to be completely incompatible with the matrix. You were never meant to be ordinary. Think about this very carefully. If you had easily fit in with the sleepers, you would have become exactly like them. You would have accepted their low frequency as your permanent reality. You would have settled for a mediocre existence and completely missed your divine appointment. God had to make you uncomfortable so you would seek truth. Every single time you were rejected by a group, God was actively smiling. He was smiling not to mock your pain, but out of immense pride. He saw your pure spirit refusing to compromise its light just to be accepted by the darkness. He watched you walk away alone rather than lower your sacred standards. You chose your soul over their validation. The system is heavily programmed to reject anything it cannot completely control. When you walk into a room, your pure energy instantly disrupts their comfortable illusions. They do not hate you. They simply hate the radiant light inside you that aggressively exposes their own hidden shadows. Your presence forces them to face their stagnation. This is exactly why they quickly label you as difficult or way too intense. They desperately try to project their own massive insecurities onto your clean slate. But you must immediately stop taking their blind rejection personally. Their complete inability to understand your high frequency is a profound confirmation of your elevated status. Let us completely redefine your current season of deep and painful isolation. This lonely space you are sitting in right now is actually a divine quarantine. God is meticulously hiding you from the world while he performs a massive upgrade on your spiritual operating system. He is removing toxic attachments so you can step into your quiet authority. Take a slow, deep breath right now. Feel the immense relief washing over your weary bones as you finally realize that absolutely nothing is wrong with you. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. The fierce battles you fought in the unseen realm have heavily scarred you, but they have also purified your beautiful heart. You survived the fire. The isolation you feel is simply the sacred space heavily required for your ultimate transformation. A caterpillar does not invite a loud crowd into the cocoon while it is busy turning into a butterfly. The profound silence around you is the heavy construction noise of heaven building your massive new timeline. Do not interrupt this holy process. You are the ultimate exception to all their tiny earthly rules. The heavy generational burdens that destroyed your ancestors will simply melt away when they touch your high frequency. You are the brave cycle breaker, and because your massive assignment is so incredibly demanding, your quiet preparation had to be equally intense and deeply lonely. Stop mourning the tragic loss of people who were only committed to misunderstanding you. Stop wishing you could quietly go back to sleep, like the rest of the ignorant world. Your deep spiritual exhaustion is simply the physical symptom of carrying a heavy divine mantle. You have been doing the work of 10 people in the unseen realms for years. Heaven is looking down at you with such fierce and fiercely protective love right now. You are doing an incredibly beautiful job, even when you feel completely broken. The quiet tears you shed in absolute silence are watering the massive seeds of your future breakthrough. God is keeping a careful record of every single sacrifice you have secretly made. From this very moment forward, you must wear your differences like a heavy crown of absolute glory. Your strange quirks are the exact sacred markers of your rare spiritual tribe. You are a deeply discerning warrior who simply cannot be easily fooled by the matrix. You must stand incredibly tall in your beautiful uniqueness without any apologies. The very things that made you feel like a helpless outcast are the exact tools heaven will use to wildly elevate you. The painful season of shrinking your massive soul is completely over. You are bravely stepping into a beautiful era of quiet victory where your mere presence commands respect. Prepare your spirit for the immense vindication arriving soon. Listen to me carefully. Your intuition is a highly classified spiritual weapon. The system wants you to believe you are overly sensitive. They constantly gaslight you into doubting your clear mind, but your sharp discernment makes the hidden enemy panic in your presence. You possess an ancient radar that detects hidden deception instantly. By the time we finish this revelation, you will understand 3 profound layers of your rare gift. You are not just guessing things. You are reading the unseen, energetic fields. People can lie with their words. They can wear beautiful masks to fool the masses. But their dark energy simply cannot hide from your piercing eyes because your soul recognizes their true frequency instantly. Layer number 1 is your absolute inability to tolerate fake environments. You walk into a room and immediately feel the heavy tension. The air suddenly feels incredibly thick to you. Average people continue laughing and drinking while they remain totally oblivious to the heavy spiritual decay. You instantly want to leave because your spirit rejects their comfortable lies. This is why small talk is so completely exhausting for you. You politely exchange words about the weather, but your mind is simultaneously downloading their deepest insecurities while they desperately try to look perfectly normal. You hear exactly what they are not saying out loud. This massive influx of hidden data drains your physical energy quickly. You are a human lie detector. The enemy absolutely hates this beautiful gift of yours. Narcissists and manipulators usually target you first. They assume your quiet nature is a sign of naive weakness. They try to spin their toxic webs around your kind heart. But they severely miscalculate your silent wisdom, and they completely panic when they realize they cannot control your thoughts. You see their hidden traps from afar. Layer number 2 is the sudden physical sickness you feel around certain individuals. You might meet someone who seems polite on the surface. Everyone else in the group completely adores this charismatic person. Your logical mind tells you to give them a fair chance, but your stomach ties itself into tight knots for no logical reason because your spirit is desperately trying to protect you. Do not ever ignore that deep physical warning from your body. That intense nausea is your spiritual shield actively blocking a demonic attachment. The Matrix trains people to ignore their gut feelings. They want you to politely smile and swallow your discomfort while they slowly drain your precious life force away. But heaven gave you that physical reaction to save you from terrible heartbreak. You have probably experienced this exact scenario many times before. You warned your friends about a specific person who carried dark energy. They called you crazy and told you to stop being deeply judgmental. You stayed perfectly silent and let them learn their own painful lessons, because you cannot force blind people to see the truth. And eventually the mask slipped off that charismatic person. They all came running back to you with wild apologies. They finally saw the terrible monster that you recognized on the very first day. This is the heavy burden of being a highly discerning warrior. You see the end of the movie before the opening credits finish rolling. You must constantly watch people crash their cars into walls you clearly pointed out, and it breaks your gentle heart. Layer number 3 is the intense mirror effect of your radiant soul. This is the part the enemy desperately tries to hide from your conscious mind. People do not attack you because you are flawed or fundamentally broken. They attack you because your high frequency acts as a massive spiritual mirror, and it forces them to confront their own dark failures. You reflect everything they fiercely hate. Corrupted people hate standing next to your divine light. Their hidden shadows are suddenly exposed to the entire world. They feel completely naked and violently exposed in your quiet presence. You do not even have to say a single aggressive word to them. Your absolute silence is loud enough to shatter their fragile egos into a million tiny pieces, while they desperately try to maintain their false image. They project their vicious anger onto you to avoid doing the hard inner work. The smear campaigns they launch against your good name are born from pure spiritual terror. They gather in weak groups because they simply cannot face your powerful light alone. The enemy uses these broken vessels to constantly drain your energy and distract your mind from the massive assignment God placed on your life. But heaven is laughing at their pathetic attempts to break a masterpiece. God gave you this terrifying discernment for a highly specific reason. You are not meant to mingle with the sleeping masses. You are deeply meant to lead the remnant of chosen ones out of the dark matrix. And your sharp intuition is your sacred compass in this heavy wilderness. Do not ever apologize for seeing exactly what is truly there. The matrix desperately needs you to doubt your sanity so you remain harmless. But God needs you to trust your ancient radar so you can fulfill your grand destiny. Every time you trust your sharp gut feeling, you sever a dark cord of manipulation and actively claim back your beautiful, quiet authority. You are not just a sensitive soul floating aimlessly through this harsh world. You are a highly trained spiritual bodyguard for your entire bloodline. The intense exhaustion that constantly drags you down is not a medical condition. It is the heavy combat fatigue of a fierce and beautiful warrior fighting massive battles in the dark, unseen realm. Listen carefully to this profound truth about your beautiful hidden assignment. While your family sleeps peacefully, your spirit is actively blocking dark forces. You absorb the heavy emotional debris they carelessly leave behind. And because you carry this massive unseen weight, they get to walk around freely without any heavy burdens crushing them. You are their brave and silent spiritual protector. This is exactly why you feel so incredibly drained after family gatherings. You walk into the house and immediately become a human energy sponge. You pull the toxic energy out of the room to keep the peace. Everyone else feels remarkably better after talking to you, while you leave the house feeling completely empty and heavily depleted. They never realize the massive price you quietly pay for their temporary comfort. They think you are just naturally quiet, or perhaps a little bit moody. They cannot see the brutal spiritual warfare happening right above their ignorant heads. God placed you in that specific bloodline because you are the only one strong enough to handle this heavy mandate. Your ancestors prayed desperately for a strong cycle breaker to finally arrive. They needed a fierce soul to permanently shatter the generational curses of poverty. You are the powerful answer to those ancient prayers whispered in the dark. The enemy knows this very well, and that is exactly why they constantly attack your weary mind with heavy, relentless doubts. The Matrix desperately wants you to abandon your sacred post today. They try to convince you that your silent sacrifices are completely pointless. They send incredibly selfish people to drain your precious energy and break your heart. But every single time you choose to bravely forgive and protect your peace, you absolutely destroy a massive demonic stronghold. You are the beautiful exception to every toxic rule in your family history. The vicious cycle of addiction and heavy trauma permanently stops right with you. You refuse to pass that bitter poison down to the next innocent generation. And doing this incredibly heavy lifting requires a massive amount of spiritual strength that absolutely nobody else in your family possesses. Take one deep breath and gently acknowledge your own hidden bravery right now. You have survived terrible battles that would have completely destroyed an ordinary person. You fought vicious demons in the dark while feeling completely alone and utterly terrified. Yet you still woke up every morning and offered a warm smile to a world that never appreciated your light. Gently, like this video right now to seal this powerful spiritual alignment. We do not do this for visibility or to please a shallow algorithm. We do this to firmly anchor your pure energy today. And as you bravely physically agree with this message, the universe will finally recognize your massive and undeniable worth. You must stop feeling guilty for needing so much time completely alone. Your physical vessel needs deep rest to recover from these intense invisible wars. A soldier cannot fight on the front lines every single day without collapsing. Your bedroom is not a prison of depression, but a sacred hospital where angels actively restore your heavily depleted energy. Let the sleepers call you antisocial or strange for violently protecting your space. They do not understand that your quiet isolation is actively saving their lives. Your strict boundaries are actually a beautiful act of divine love. If you let your frequency drop by constantly mingling with their low energy, the entire spiritual shield around your family would collapse. God is incredibly proud of how well you have guarded this heavy gate. You stood incredibly tall when the heavy winds of chaos tried to break you. You never fully abandoned your sacred post even when you felt entirely shattered. Heaven has documented every single time you chose pure love over bitter resentment, and your massive reward is rapidly approaching right now. Do not let anyone minimize the massive weight you have bravely carried here. They simply cannot comprehend the profound depth of your daily spiritual sacrifices. You are a fierce intercessor standing boldly in the dangerous gap for your family. You are a warrior of light, walking bravely through a very dark valley just to guide the others safely home. Before we uncover the massive mistake the Matrix made regarding your beautiful life, you must fully accept that your deep exhaustion is a glorious badge of honor. It boldly proves that you actually fought back against the darkness, instead of surrendering. The heavy burden of being the exception is finally lifting today, and a glorious season of permanent rest is beginning. Before I reveal the divine verdict, you must clearly understand the fatal trap the Matrix built for you. They made a massive and irreversible mistake when they isolated you. The enemy heavily orchestrated that painful rejection because they truly believed it would finally crush your spirit. They thought the heavy silence would drive you completely mad. They desperately wanted you to beg for their toxic acceptance. They wanted you crawling back to their low frequency just to escape the deep loneliness. The dark system relies heavily on your deep fear of being entirely alone in this cold world. But they severely underestimated the fierce divine power resting quietly inside your bones. Instead of breaking down, you actually woke up. The intense pressure did not shatter your mind as they wickedly planned. It forcefully compressed your scattered energy and turned your spirit into an unbreakable diamond. You learned how to quietly survive in the dark wilderness without ever needing their shallow validation or their conditional love. And this exact realization is making the enemy absolutely panic right now. Listen carefully to the strange energy shifting around you today. The people who secretly plotted your downfall are suddenly experiencing severe chaos in their own lives. Their wicked traps have completely collapsed. The heavy confusion they tried to boldly cast over your mind is actively returning back to their own camp. The universe is fiercely protecting its masterpiece. You can actually feel their intense frustration in the unseen realm. They are frantically turning on each other because their dark agenda failed. They completely drained their own energy, trying to break a spiritual shield that God Himself forged in heavenly fire. You did not even have to lift a single physical finger to fight them. Your quiet existence defeated them. The Matrix simply cannot calculate the moves of a chosen one who refuses to play by their earthly rules. They expect anger and loud retaliation. They deeply feed off your emotional reactions and your bitter tears. But you gave them absolutely nothing but cold and terrifying silence. And true silence is the absolute most deadly weapon you can ever use against a toxic, narcissistic system that desperately craves your constant emotional attention. You became entirely untouchable the moment you stopped caring about their dark opinions. The heavy chains of people-pleasing finally fell off your weary shoulders. You are no longer easily triggered by their foolish little games. You calmly watch them scramble like desperate tiny ants in the dirt while you sit securely on your beautiful spiritual throne surrounded by divine protection. The massive power dynamic has officially shifted in your favor. This is exactly why your current season feels so incredibly weird and quiet. The loud warfare has violently ended, and the enemy is currently retreating in total disgrace. They know they have permanently lost control over your beautiful mind. The dark system is terrified because a fully awakened chosen one is the most dangerous force on this entire planet. Do not let your guard down just yet. They will try to send fake messengers to gently test your strict new boundaries. They will dangle old, familiar temptations in front of your tired face to see if you are still weak. But they will only find a fierce warrior standing quietly at the heavy gates of your soul, entirely immune to the cheap tricks that used to break you. You have truly leveled up. You must boldly claim this beautiful victory today. You did not just merely survive the brutal dark storm they intentionally created to destroy you. You actually absorbed its raw cosmic power and became the fierce storm itself. The heavy lightning they maliciously sent to strike you down is now flowing directly through your own veins, giving you the absolute authority to dictate your sacred reality. The enemy made a fatal error. Every single tear you shed in secret was actually a powerful seed of their total destruction. Heaven collected your deep pain and weaponized it against the very system that tried to crush you. The Matrix is actively glitching right now because your pure frequency is completely overloading their dark circuits. You broke all of their ancient earthly rules by simply choosing to fiercely love yourself in a cold world that constantly told you that you were worthless. Take a deep breath and gently feel the immense weight dropping off your spirit. The heavy, invisible chains are permanently broken today. The vicious spiritual dogs that relentlessly chased you through the dark valley are now fleeing in absolute terror. The long and exhausting battle for your precious mind is completely over, and you are the only one left standing brightly in the peaceful clearing. The ultimate shift is finally here. Take a deep breath right now. Drop your tired shoulders. We are entering the most crucial phase of your divine journey. You must listen to this next revelation with your entire spirit wide open, because heaven is finally ready to explain the incredibly long wait you endured. The deep frustration you feel about your stagnant life is about to vanish completely. For the past few years, you watched everyone else pass you by. They bought houses and secured easy promotions while you constantly struggled to survive. The dark system desperately wanted you to feel like a massive failure. They whispered bitter lies into your ears every single night, and they violently tried to convince you that God had completely forgotten your true name. You cried alone and asked the universe why every single door was permanently locked. You felt like you were walking through thick mud, while ordinary people effortlessly sprinted ahead. The delay felt exactly like a cruel punishment for a crime you never committed. But you must firmly reject that terrible illusion right now, because your entire spiritual reality is completely different from what they told you. God did not delay your massive blessing because you were unworthy. That heavy delay was never a denial of your beautiful destiny. That long and painful delay was actually divine exactness. God was meticulously aligning 1,000,000 tiny details in the unseen realm just to protect your bright future, and He was building an absolutely unbreakable foundation for you. If heaven had opened those heavy doors when you originally begged for them, you would have been destroyed. You were simply not spiritually mature enough to handle the massive weight of that specific blessing. The toxic people around you would have instantly stolen your entire harvest. God had to aggressively cleanse your environment first, so He deliberately closed the doors to keep those dangerous parasites away from your pure energy. He kept you hidden in the dark wilderness to starve the enemies quietly feeding on your bright light. The Matrix hates this brilliant strategy because they cannot attack what they cannot see. While they thought you were just rotting in deep isolation, you were actually incubating. Your quiet season was a beautiful spiritual cocoon, and it completely shielded you from the chaotic storms tearing the outside world apart. You are the brave exception who survived the longest winter. And because you successfully passed that rigorous test of endurance, the spiritual tide is violently turning in your favor today. All the scattered pieces of your chaotic life are finally converging into one perfect picture. The divine puzzle is almost fully complete now. The massive blessings you prayed for are no longer delayed. They were carefully stored in a divine vault while you fought those invisible wars. The interest on your spiritual tears has compounded heavily over all these difficult years. And heaven is actively preparing to release a mega deposit that will completely shock your entire bloodline and permanently change your physical reality. You must prepare your physical vessel to receive this unprecedented shift. You cannot enter this brand new timeline carrying the heavy baggage of your past trauma. You must permanently drop the bitter resentment you hold against the sleepers who violently betrayed you. They were merely ignorant pawns in a much grander spiritual game, and they simply could not comprehend the massive light burning inside your soul. Let karma aggressively handle every single person who threw dirt on your pure name. You do not need to defend yourself or explain your beautiful journey to narrow minds. You are a masterpiece of God, and you do not need validation from blind critics. Your absolute silence is the most terrifying weapon you can yield right now, because it proves you have completely detached from their low frequency. The dark matrix is actively trembling because your activation code is almost complete. They see the massive spiritual wealth slowly descending upon your weary head, and they cannot stop it. The invisible walls they built around your finances are rapidly crumbling into dust. The heavy generational debt is being permanently erased today, and you are stepping into a profound era of effortless and absolute divine abundance. Every single closed door is about to swing wildly open all at once. The divine orchestration is so incredibly precise that it will leave you completely breathless. You will look back at your painful history and suddenly realize that nothing was ever wasted. Every deep tear and every harsh betrayal was a necessary stepping stone, completely designed to elevate you into this exact moment of supreme victory. You are standing right at the absolute edge of your magnificent promised land. The heavy armor you wore for so many years is finally starting to fall away. You are stepping fully out of survival mode and entering your beautiful season of quiet authority. The universe is heavily bowing to your pure frequency right at this exact second, because it deeply recognizes the power of a true chosen one. Hold your peaceful ground and do not let the sudden shifting winds frighten you. The rapid acceleration of your life will feel incredibly strange after such a long period of stagnation. But you must fiercely trust the divine timing, because heaven does not make any mistakes. Your brilliant victory is already written in the holy stars, and nobody in this entire physical realm has the power to take it away. The beautiful moment you have secretly waited for your entire life is finally arriving. You are the quiet victor who survived the absolute worst the Matrix had to offer. Prepare your pure heart to finally receive the massive compensation you deeply deserve. The majestic heavens are actively smiling down on their favorite exception, and they are proud to welcome you into your brand new chapter. Listen to me very carefully right now. The time for quietly hiding in the shadows is permanently over. I declare a massive shift in the spiritual atmosphere surrounding your life. The heavy darkness that relentlessly tried to consume your pure soul has officially lost its grip, and heaven is finally stepping forward to loudly speak your true name into the universe. In the mighty name of the Creator, I break every generational cycle right now. The heavy poverty stops with you today. The deep spiritual exhaustion ends right here. The toxic attachments are permanently severed. You are the ultimate cycle breaker. I decree that the suffocating mantle of survival mode is falling off your weary shoulders, because your spirit has finally awakened to its infinite power. You are no longer just barely surviving. You are stepping into a divine era of absolute abundance. The system wanted you financially desperate. They needed you weak. But heaven is completely bypassing their dark matrix today, while a mega deposit of wealth and spiritual clarity is being released directly into your beautiful life. You are holding the sacred keys to the kingdom. I declare your season of being a footstool for their ego is permanently over. The universe is fiercely flipping the script today. Your silent suffering is ending. Those who sat at crowded tables and spoke poorly of your name will watch heaven prepare a feast for you. You do not have to lift a single physical finger to defend yourself, because God is acting as your ultimate defense attorney. Watch your hidden enemies absolutely panic as your peace becomes entirely untouchable. The deep confusion they wickedly tried to cast onto your life is returning to their dark camp. They are turning on each other right now. Your silence is suffocating their lies. They finally realize they made a fatal mistake by messing with a true masterpiece of God, and they are completely powerless to stop your blessings. You must deeply understand how fiercely the Creator loves you. He did not watch your painful struggles with a cold heart. He caught every single tear you cried in absolute secret. He felt every heavy betrayal that shattered your spirit. He smiled with immense pride, because you never let their toxic darkness turn your pure heart bitter while you walked through the incredibly terrifying fire completely alone. Heaven is actively stepping in to boldly multiply everything the enemy maliciously stole. Your lost years will be fully restored in a matter of brief days. The heavy emotional debt you paid for ungrateful people is being completely refunded. You are receiving a massive compensation for acting as a silent spiritual shield for your family when nobody else even noticed your deep and profound exhaustion. Breathe out the heavy pain and boldly inhale this brand new frequency. You are not a victim of some random tragic circumstances. Every single event in the life of a chosen one is a precise divine appointment. The universe deliberately designed this exact path to grant you massive authority, and you are finally stepping into the quiet power that terrified the sleeping matrix for so many long years. The heavy clouds of doubt and fear are permanently dissipating right now. The intense mental fog that kept you frozen in deep isolation is lifting. Your brilliant intuition is sharper and more accurate than ever before. You see the beautiful path forward clearly. The universe is handing you the supreme ultimate verdict today, and it loudly declares that you are completely victorious over the dark system. This divine frequency of pure abundance is entirely overriding every single delay in your timeline. The gates of heaven are swinging wide open for their favorite exception. Do not shrink back from the massive wave of blessings. You deeply earned every single ounce of this beautiful reward. The Creator is heavily wrapping you in His warm, protective light, and He is proudly announcing your divine promotion to the world. You are fully anointed and fiercely protected from any future spiritual attacks. The dark entities that chased you are completely dissolved by your radiant energy. You are a sovereign being of immense light. You dictate the exact terms of your reality. Let your weary soul completely rest in this magnificent truth today, because the fierce battle is definitively won and the glorious crown is entirely yours. I declare absolute spiritual peace over your entire home and bloodline. The chaotic noise of the world simply cannot penetrate your sacred energetic field anymore. You are deeply loved by the universe. You are cherished beyond any human comprehension. Stand incredibly tall today as the quiet victor you were always destined to be, and boldly watch heaven move majestic mountains entirely on your behalf. You have successfully walked through the blazing fire and emerged entirely purified. The dark system utterly failed to break your beautiful spirit. The heavy matrix could not contain your expanding cosmic energy. Today marks the official end of your painful wilderness season. The heavens are celebrating your beautiful resilience with a spectacular shower of divine favor, and they are unlocking the massive financial miracles you desperately prayed for. Take one deep, slow breath right now and let your entire physical body completely relax into your chair. The massive spiritual storm has officially passed, and you are standing firmly in the warm and beautiful light. But now comes the absolute most important test of your spiritual maturity. You must learn exactly how to fiercely protect this massive new frequency before the blessings arrive. When heaven starts aggressively pouring these new blessings into your life, your first instinct will be to tell everyone. You will desperately want to show the people who doubted you that you finally won, but you must firmly resist that earthly temptation. You have entered the sacred sanctuary of quiet authority. Let them blindly misunderstand you. Let them assume absolutely whatever they want about your mysterious silence. You no longer need to explain your soul to people who are heavily committed to misunderstanding your pure spirit. Your precious energy is simply too expensive to spend on their cheap drama and endless gossip. From this exact moment forward, your calm presence alone will command immense respect from everyone in the room. Your absolute silence will become your greatest spiritual weapon against the desperate matrix. When God drops the mega deposit into your waiting hands, you must keep it completely hidden from the public eye. Do not cast your beautiful pearls before blind swine who only want to steal your radiant light. Many chosen ones actually sabotage their own massive blessings because they feel deeply guilty for finally succeeding. When the financial abundance starts flowing into your life, you might feel the sudden urge to save every single person you left behind. But you must fiercely remember the strict rules of your divine quarantine. You cannot pull them up if they absolutely refuse to climb. The sleeper must choose to wake up on their own. If you reach back into the toxic mud to save them, they will only drag your high frequency back down. God gave you this immense wealth to build your own safe sanctuary. You must guard your high frequency with absolute ruthlessness. When you wake up in the morning, do not immediately check your phone to absorb the dark chaos of the sleeping world. Spend your first quiet moments thanking the Creator for your divine protection. Your pure energy is the exact currency that manifests your beautiful reality. The dark enemy can no longer attack you directly, but they will send spies to casually ask about your sudden success. They will try to find a tiny crack in your new armor. you must remain completely unbothered. Answer them with a polite smile, but give them absolutely nothing to feed their toxic curiosity. You are officially released from the heavy burden of healing people who desperately want to stay broken. You are fully anointed, you are fiercely protected, and you are finally free from the survival mode that trapped your ancestors. Subscribe to this sanctuary right now and turn on the bell so the enemy cannot intercept your future messages. We do not ask for your subscription to please a superficial algorithm. We ask you to join this safe harbor as a powerful spiritual seal of agreement. If you have walked through the blazing fire completely alone, carrying the heavy weight of others while no one ever checked on your tired heart, you are finally home. If this specific message has been your safe sanctuary today, and if it lifted a heavy burden off your weary soul, consider sowing a seed of deep gratitude. You can find the secure path to support this ministry pinned directly in the comments below. Your gentle support actively keeps this spiritual lighthouse burning brightly. It helps us reach the very next chosen one who is crying quietly in the dark right now, completely terrified and thinking they are entirely alone. Your kind seed multiplies the harvest for everyone in this rare tribe. But even if you simply type 777 in the comments, your beautiful presence here is enough. God is placing a permanent seal of divine protection over your entire household today. The painful season of wandering through the cold desert is officially finished. You are stepping gracefully into the promised land of absolute peace. Do not look back at the crumbling matrix, because there is absolutely nothing left there for you. You are the quiet victor. You are the fierce cycle breaker who carried the immense weight of generations and survived. Keep your pure heart fully open to receive the massive compensation that is rapidly flowing toward you today. The universe is fiercely proud of the beautiful masterpiece you have finally become. Rest your weary spirit tonight with the absolute certainty that heaven is firmly in control of your destiny. The fierce battles you fought in secret are about to reward you heavily in public. Stay silent, stay deeply grounded, and watch heaven move magnificent mountains entirely on your behalf. You are so deeply loved.